Welcome, Virgo, your in-depth weekly astrology overview and zodiac forecast for week commencing the 6th of April for the ascendant, the sun, or the moon. Going to share with you the big themes of the week first, then on screen your event chart as we come into the week, always influential. I'll then go through each of the influences frame by frame to give you a clear picture of what you can expect in terms of your energy, work, relationships, and finances. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundel. A very warm welcome. If you've yet to subscribe to the channel, please do so now to help it to continue to thrive. So as we come into this week, Mercury, your ruler, continues to forge a dazzling alliance to the lucky Jupiter. What's the implications? But also, Mercury is going to emerge from its post-retrograde shadow. How will that play out for you personally? But Mars, the planet of action, which has been urging you to firm up your boundaries in recent weeks, is also forging a very dynamic link to Uranus. How will that play out? At the heart of this week, not only does Mercury emerge from that shadow, Mars punches its way into its home sign of Aries. What's the implication of the next 6 weeks for you? I'm going to end the forecast by telling you also about the quarter moon. We have two a month. As we see it, they look like half moons in the sky. But this one's in your sister Earth sign of Capricorn. What does that mean as the week draws to a close? So on the screen now, Virgo, is your event chart. As ever, we need to be mindful of the two luminaries. There's the sun in the deep transformational eighth house. In a more practical way, that can see you thinking about long-term finances and shared resources. But the moon is just into the fourth house. So as you start this week, if there was a little bit of tension late on Sunday, it wouldn't be a surprise because the moon went opposite the restless vibe of Uranus. And you may find yourself a little quieter first thing on Monday morning. However, Mercury, your ruler, continues to align with Jupiter. And there's one person in your circle that you're probably finding really fun to be with. And you could be urging each other on, sharing those talents, pooling the different qualities you have. It's possible that you are building an alliance and an understanding with a friend that may even have a little bit of attraction attached to it. But the feisty Mars, which has been with you by this time for about 5 weeks, urging you to be stronger on your boundaries, forges a terrific link to Uranus. If there is something you want to do that's decisive and bold and perhaps pushes you outside your comfort zone, and it might be making that first move if you're drawn to someone, that's a very positive alliance in the first half of this week. But Venus the relator does continue to be in a complex right angle with Pluto. When it comes to your uh, ongoing relationships, and it may even be at work, if you do feel a little bit beholden to someone and they're, letting you know that, perhaps subtly, perhaps a little bit more forcefully, that can just feel a bit uncomfortable. But you may also find that there's something that you're drawn towards at the moment that you're finding very difficult to get outside of your mind. It may be a holiday destination. It could be a new vehicle. The ninth house, very much about that, and Venus very much about what we desire, but Pluto very much about how we're going to make that happen. But then on Thursday, Mercury emerges from the post-retrograde shadow. So we're putting to bed a period which began on the 11th of February, where there may have been some confusion and uncertainty around your interactions with others, close relationships, or even professional ones. So that's great news. But Mars makes the switch into its home sign of Aries. Now, ordinarily, Mars in Aries is hot, isn't it? It's arid, it's fiery, it's passionate. But for you, it's the eighth house, which could mean that if you are drawn to someone and it is an intimate connection, things can really heat up over the next few weeks. But it initially meets with Neptune. If you are drawn to someone where you're not quite sure what the deal is, there is a little bit of mystique, but uncertainty, or you're talking about a long-term financial plan where you may feel that you want to be very uh, very direct, make a sudden move. I try to hold off. Neptune can create a shroud of mist, which can also create uncertainty. Also, by the end of the week, the moon moves forwards into the more playful, affectionate fifth house, but does square off to the sun in the eighth. If you are in a relationship which does seem a bit bogged down in heavy politics, that move of Mars and that quarter moon could really see you thinking, do you really need this? And I think Uranus being right at the top of your chart is still giving you that tempting thought that freedom can actually bring a lot of benefits to you, even if it does mean leaving behind something that has some attractions and worth. I'm going to summarize those four areas for you next, Virgo. But if you've yet to watch your April deep dive monthly forecast for your sign, please see that on the screen. If you've yet to watch your Libra full moon deep dive video, that's on the screen. You can sign up for your free daily horoscope with me. I've written these for many years. Please see the link below. Get your celestial pit stop first thing each morning fired to your device. If you'd like to work with me directly, please check out my testimonials. If you'd like to order your personal horoscopes, great value, totally unique to each person they're produced for, and helps you to use more technical astrology to understand what makes you unique, but also what are your opportunities. So, just to summarize, as far as relationships are concerned, things can get clearer if a relationship's going well, but they can get murkier if it's not. I know that doesn't sound like a clear scenario, but sometimes that's what happens with astrology. But I think if your direction of travel feels clear and there doesn't seem to be tangles or misunderstandings, even if you strongly fancy someone, that's giving you the inside track of what you should really be drawn towards. Now, professionally, I do feel by the end of this month, you could find yourself being pulled towards doing something very differently. But if you want to make the most of your resources financially, I think it's about squeezing a bit more from them by analyzing in greater detail just where you might do something a bit more savvy and crafty. And when it comes to your energy, I think you're going to start this week feeling rather sensitive, perhaps a little bit on edge. It's been a pleasure being with you, Virgo. Have a great week. All the best and goodbye.